Is Gervonta Tank Davis done with boxing? Let's talk about it. Do y'all want to see Gervonta Tank Davis come back? I mean, he's been through a lot of stuff. This man has been through, a lot of abuse charges. He's been arrested for things of that nature. I just want Gervonta to realize the talent that he has that is wasting, and not let him be another Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner was a guy also that had talent that he wasted, and now he's kind of broke and he needs to fight, for Don King. Gervonta Tank Davis still has his, he still have his youth. He still is a great fighter. He still is undefeated. Look, Gervonta wants to retire. He said he's done with boxing and this and that. But, I feel like, Gervonta is just going through certain things in life that he needs to sort out before he comes back to boxing. As far as this, Gervonta being in jail, maybe he needs to think and, sort out things in his life before he come back. Who I want to see him fight when he come back, of course, everybody wants to see this Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Tank Davis, and I want to see it too. I want to see how, Gervonta can, because I feel like the only person that can beat Shakur is Gervonta Tank Davis. I'm kind of glad that he didn't do that fiasco with Jake Paul. That a very circus level fight. Jake Paul was going to basically probably just hold on to Gervonta all night, and tire Gervonta out. Jake Paul was really running all night from Anthony Joshua. But this fight with Gervonta Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson, I want to see it. There's no one else that I can think of that can beat Shakur Stevenson besides maybe Lamont Roach. That's basically it. Maybe Isaac Pitbull Cruz, but even then that's still a very questionable fight. I feel like the only one that can beat him is, Gervonta Tank Davis. So, I want to see Gervonta fight him. I see that Devin Haney in the Gervonta Davis fight has fell through because, there's no way that they can fight. Devin is at 147. Gervonta still fights at, close to 135. Still, relatively small fighter. I feel like Gervonta can go up to 140 and fight. There's a lot of, fighters up there at 140 that Gervonta can fight. I want him to get his rematch with Lamont Roach. We have to see the rematch. If anything with Gervonta, I want him to rematch Lamont Roach. We have to see this fight. I also want Gervonta Tank Davis to rematch Isaac Pitbull Cruz. I want him to fight the guys that he had questionable wins against and questionable draws, before he tackle Shakur. Who else do I want to see him fight? Fantasy fight. I can't think. Maybe Naoya Inoue. I mean, Naoya can move up. If he moves up, there was talks of them, doing a type of fight, like that in the future. If Naoya Inoue can move up, put them guys in the ring. They're small enough to do it. I would love to see that fight. Other than that, Tank Davis, I hope that, he, sort, those things out, because there's still fights that I want to see. I know there's fights that y'all want to see. Of course, we have to see what, Tank Davis does in the future, and hopefully he stays and, finish those fights off like he said he was. I know he said he was going to retire, but, it probably would hurt his legacy more if he did retire and, didn't do those fights that we asked for.
You violate, I'm gonna have to demonstrate. You violate, I'm gonna demonstrate.
Well, stop trying to let flow, but you trying to
violate,
steal quotes and stuff.
You
trying to
violate, I'm
steal
gonna
quotes,
demonstrate.
brother.
You violate, I'm gonna demonstrate.
I want y'all to play them tapes back.
You already know what I said. You violate and I demonstrate.
But Shakur, that guy will put anybody to sleep outside the ring.